Welcome everyone to episode 28 of Kerbal Space Program First Contract. In the previous episode we did an aerial survey of the mountains just behind KSC and spotted some locations where we might do some carbonite mining. So let's go build ourselves a vehicle to do exactly that. Now we could build ourselves a rocket, just as we would if we were going to go to the Mun or Minmus. But I thought we'd do something different. Now this comes from an idea that Orbiter, one of my subscribers, gave me of parachuting a vehicle into the location. Now I couldn't see how to parachute a vehicle without changing the flight properties of a plane, but it did give me an idea of how we might want to land. So thank you very much for that idea. Let's get cracking. Now, of course, the first thing we need is a cockpit, and we will also need a nose cone of some description that will have our detector on it. Now, we'll use this nose cone, I think, but we think we need a little structural adapter just to make it a little bit neater. So is that? There we go. We'll put that adapter on. There we go. We've got a nice little nose there with our carbonite detector, so we can find our carbonite as we approach. Now, with the cockpit in place, we now need to look at the equipment we're going to need to actually do the extraction. So we need some mining gear, and we'll find that here under the utilities tab. Now there's a number of different parts we need. We can use this rather fixed frame, or we can use this all-in-one landing frame. Now if I just put that there for the moment, we can see the little difficulty that we're going to have. These parts don't look like they're going to mesh. So we're going to need adapters, and we're going to need to somehow balance the craft so it will actually fly. Now whilst we're mining, we're going to need to be able to store our fuel, and I think here we go, we have carbonite converter somewhere here. We have a carbonite fuel tank. Now where the heck do we get the carbonite fuel tank? Is it under propulsion? Propulsion, where do we see it? No, there's the engines. We'll be using those later. There we go, carbonite tank. We've got a little carbonite. That's a large carbonite tank. Let's have a look. Smaller carbonite tank. There we go. We've got a small carbonite tank that maybe we can slip in there. So that's going to attach like so. We'll just knock together something and then we'll improve it as we go. Then we need a size adapter. I kind of like using these adapters, get it the right way round, and put that like so. Now that's kind of the basis of our craft, but of course we need wings, we need fuel, and of course we need a drill. Now the drill fits up inside of this landing frame, so let's just slip it right inside into the inner part. But fixing wings to this could prove a little tricky, so I think what we'll do is, no, we won't rotate. Let's start all that again. Let's put that there, put that back in there, and what we want to try and do is just rotate through 45 degrees. Is that 45 degrees? Let's check it from the back. There we go. So we'll have some space to fit some wings along here. Now of course it all depends where the mass is going to be, and I think we can tell where the mass is going to be. It's going to be right here at the back. So let's get a control wheel and a battery. Utility, no, batteries. Here we go, batteries. Let's get a battery on there. There we go. So that's kind of our carbonite construction, but we're also going to need to get this to our target, and that is going to need some wings. Oh, we've got the SAS. We're going to need some wings. So how we... oh dear. Let's press the Alt key so it only attaches to that central point there. So if this is going to be our main body, we need some wings. So let's go to the aerodynamics section. We'll get our centre of mass and our centre of lift positioned. Obviously we have no lift at the moment, but we have a very, very deeply positioned or rearward positioned centre of mass. So how are we going to get our wings on here? Now clearly fitting them in the traditional direction is going to move our centre of lift way too far back. So let's try, if it's not that, it's this. Let's try, nope, that's not right. Let's try forward facing wings. Oh dear, not backward facing wings, forward facing wings. There we go. And this is why I rotated the rear of the craft. There we go. Forward facing wings. Now, when the landing legs are down, we're going to have to land this bottom first. The wings are going to be clear. And we still have a reasonable position for our centre of mass and centre of lift. So let's retract the landing frame so we just get back into landing mode. So where are we going to put the engines? We'd normally have something in the back here, but obviously we have that free for our drill. So we're going to put them on the wings. So we're going to do sort of wing-mounted tanks. So let's go and get some tanks and put those on the wings like so. Yep, that should be fine. We'll do adjustments later, and I think we'll use the air intake from here, just a standard circular intake. Now the problem we're going to have is it's not going to fit because it's basically clipping the wing on one side or the other. So what we'll do, let's attach these a little bit forward first, put the air intakes on, and then move the whole engine back. Let's do that. There we go. So let's get these back as far as they'll go, like so. Now we'll get ourselves just a standard basic jet engine. That's all we're going to need. There we are. So right. Now with our centre of lift is a little far forward, so let's adjust that. Just move the engines a little further forward. There we go, like so. There we go. Excellent. Nice. Right, so that's well positioned. We've got plenty of fuel. We've only got to get around the back of KSC, so that's going to be a problem. So let's do our aerodynamic surfaces for elevons. There we go, elevons. Let's put those on. There we go. Put two of those on. Still a little bit far back now, perhaps, but we'll do some final adjustments later. Let's put on. What should we do? Should we do a little more space age? So we do. There we go. Let's put those on the outside there, since we can't really put a great deal here in the middle. Yep, that should be. Well, that should be okay. We've not got to get far. We've just got to stumble our way forward. We need some wheels. Now, that's going to prove a bit tricky. We're going to have to try and fit our wheels right around this very central area here. So it's going to be a bit difficult, but nothing that can't be sorted. So let's go to our utilities tab. Go and get our standard wheels. We'll have one wheel here up front and centre. I said one. And we'll turn it round so we can get it as far forward as possible. Can't really see very well where we are. Try putting it on from the front. Here we go, like so. Not quite far enough forward. So let's bring this as far forward as it will go. There we go. So that's ahead of the centre of mass. And then what we'll do is we'll put two more just behind these landing legs. We'll put two. And we'll bring them back to about so, and then straighten them out. Is that right? Yep, that's right. Let's see where they are. Now that's maybe a little bit far back, because we want this thing to be able to tip forward, so it will actually take off. So let's not put them too far back. Now there we go. Now again it should be face up, nose up, so that should help us get some lift, and that's looking quite good. What else do we need? Right, well, solar panels. We need some solar panels. So let's go to the utility tab again and get some of our standard can't do without solar panels. Let's put a couple of those on. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put just one of those on the top there, and we'll put a couple here on the wings. So let's get two of those, like so, just so we have some solar generating power. We'll put another couple just under here. You can't do without panels. Let's put them one click further round, like so. More or less cosmetic, really, but we need to do it. We need to do it. And then we'll have some of these larger photovoltaic cells here on the outer body. Now we're not going to be able to fit them underneath here, so we'll just have to make do with those two. And just so we have some generating power during the night, what shall we do with the drunken sailor? I'll tell you what we'll do. We will rotate these not up and down. We'll rotate them forward, so we have something fancy here on the nose cone. There we go, something like so. There we go. That looks okay. A little bit overdone. So let's just bring them back a little. There we go. That looks fine. Nice and fancy. Maybe we'll move them just back like so. Yep, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. I like that. Like that a lot. So, what else do we need? Well, we have a pilot. So he's going to need a way of getting in and out. So again, on our utility tab, let's go and look for the Telus Mobility Enhancer. Let's get that the right way around. I think that's the right way around. And just double check that's true. Gets it the right way around. A bit too far around. Okay. Pull it up. There we go. Now that oh dear. Of course, he might be able to get on and off when it's on the ground, but not when it's landed bottom first. Okay. Right. I'll tell you what we'll do then. We'll not move the whole plane. We will take our landing mobility enhancer off, and we will place it like so. There we go. Now we need some ladder parts to get him or her, the pilot, up to the cockpit or down for rescue, as the case may be. So let's just continue these up the body. We can do that. There we go. And finally, looks like we might have to remove that. Let's just get these in here, and that hopefully should be enough to get in and out of the cockpit. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess let's just close that up. This is worth a test run. So let's just rename this as the Karbonite Extractor Mark 1. Extractor. Save it. And head on out and just see how this thing works. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here we are on the runway, and poor old Hadbart has a problem. Clearly we haven't got our wheels quite far enough back, and what's more, we've forgotten Orbiter's suggestion. So I suggest we head back to the hangar and sort these things out. Okay, so Mark 1 didn't work. Trouble. Now, first things first, let's sort out the centre of mass relative to the wheels. Now, we were rather adventurous in bringing these wheels so far forward, so let's bring them back. Let's double up. It would be good to have 2 wheels. And bring them back, let's say, to there. Now, maybe that's too far, maybe it isn't, maybe we'll have difficulty getting off the ground, but let's see, shall we? Now, the second thing that we forgot was Orbiter's suggestion, which is to use parachutes to assist landing. So, rather than actually drop the whole thing via parachutes, we're just going to use parachute-assisted landing. So when we arrive at the landing site, we're going to go vertical and then pop the parachutes. So let's start packing this thing with parachutes. So let's go and get our standard radial mount parachutes, and let's start with a set on the nose cone, like so. So that should keep the nose in the air. We will then add parachutes here as well. More parachutes, the better, I think, for this very hefty design. Do you think that's enough? Let's just tidy this up, shall we? Do you think that's enough? Don't know, really. But, that said, the parachutes will be helping us with the last part of our landing, the very last part. We'll use the engines to compensate for any extra... Did I mean to do that? No, I didn't. There we go. So this is the Mark II. So yes, we'll use the parachutes to control our descent, and the engines just to make up any difference, because of course one of the problems with jet engines is they take time to spool up and spool down, so the parachutes will help just control any sudden changes required in velocity. So it'll just basically dampen our descent, and so so thank you very much, Orbiter, for that suggestion. That will help a lot. So let's try for a second time with the Mark II. See you in a moment. Right, so it looks like Hadbart as a slightly more functional version 2 of this craft. Now, the first problem we have is that we don't actually want to be going that away. We want to be going that away to the hotspots that we spotted with our previous survey. So, let's see if we can't turn this tank around, assuming we can get the darn thing into the air. So let's put the T key on. Let's just make sure we sort out our staging. We don't want our parachutes triggered immediately, so let's get the staging sorted out. So let's fire up the engines, get the brakes off, and let us get going. Now, this is going to be, well, like I say, a bit of a tank in the air. We've got plenty of jet power, but lift might be our big problem. So landing, parachutes and all, probably isn't going to be a problem. But let's see. Let's pro tip, off the end of the runway and pull up. Trying not to go bottom first into the beach or into the ocean for that matter. And let's get some altitude. ASAP. Now if I let go of the controls, we can see the nose is definitely wanting to dip. I mean, we've got quite a heavy angle of attack there just to keep ourselves in the air, so we are quite short of lift, but we are up, we are gaining altitude, and we need to start thinking about gently turning ourselves around. So a little bit of a bank, and just try keeping our nose up. I said up, as we turn ourselves back towards the mountains on the other side of KSC. Now I'm constantly pulling back on the stick in order to keep us up, not losing too much altitude. As long as we can get back round towards the mountains, then we can gain the necessary height as we travel back, so I'm not too worried about altitude at this point. Hadbart looks rather worried now, considering he spent his first few minutes of this series stranded in space with no spaceship. I'm surprised that being this close to the planet's surface worries him. As long as, of course, he doesn't hit the planet's surface, he should be just fine. So let's just rotate ourselves around here a little more aggressively and start heading back towards the mountains. Now, 1,000 feet up, that's not so bad. We're going to go for sort of this kind of pass through the mountains there. I don't know if we'll make it. This thing is really hard to turn, even with both engines at full pelt. It still wants to nose down, but I think we've just about caught it, I think. And now we can start thinking about just gaining some height as we fly towards the mountains there. Now, we could have added some additional wings. Now, wings clip very easily, and the total surface area of all the wings combined determines your lift, so you can cram in quite a few of these wings one on top of another to generate quite a lot of lift without moving the centre of lift much further forward or back. We could have extended the wings outside, I guess. That probably would have helped, but to be honest, we just need to get over these mountains and then stick it on its arse, to be blunt. So this will do. This will make do. So parachutes and all, this will make do. Thank you very much, Orbiter, for this suggestion. We need to collect some of this carbonite to do some experimentation on in order to build some carbonite powered craft. So this makeshift drill transporter is ideal for that simple exercise. Now, this is not specifically related to any contract, so strictly speaking, this isn't a first contract mission, but somehow I think we can squeeze in some carbonite into our designs in future, building refueling stations for our missions to the outer planets, so we can maybe build some of our craft and refuel some of our craft onto Minmus or the Mun, just to generate a little bit of interest. I think that counts. Now, the fact that we have actually completed the tech tree kind of makes the first contract element a teensy-weensy bit redundant anyway. But we have to remember we still have our asteroid contract, so that's still something to look forward to. We're 15 days away from first encounter, so we're looking forward to that, as is Minmus, which we can see there, just over there on the horizon. Now, as we approach these mountains, I think it's about time we start displaying the carbonite hotspots. Now, we can just see the first of the hotspots appearing over the mountains there. So if we go to this view, we can focus in. This is the chasm, the gully we're going through, and this is the area we want to arrive at. So we want to start doing some carbonite extraction here. So that's where we're aiming for. So let's go back to pilot view, make sure we have a sufficient height to get over the mountains. So I think we need to do a bit of climbing now, and then we need to turn a little bit across there towards that hotspot you can see. So let's just turn and get ourselves lined up for the gully. There we go. God dear, this thing is hard work. It is hard work, and we're losing quite a bit of height here, so let's start concentrating on gaining that height. So nose up quite considerably. We're on full power, on full pelt. We just desperately need that power. We've got plenty of fuel, so that's not going to be a problem. It is just a case of making it over the mountains through this gully. Getting enough height just to get over that mountain we see there in the foreground, and then basically coming down bottom first into one of those hotspots. Now I don't know how accurate I'm going to be, or indeed how accurate I need to be, but here we go. I think we've got plenty of height now. Let's just level off a little and start coming around towards these hotspots. There we go. So we've got plenty of hotspots to aim for. We can just see them there. If we just quickly turn off display hotspots, you can see it's rough but fairly flat plateau here. So I think anywhere in this plateau, perhaps just over this ridge here, somewhere in this area here should be fine. So let's display the hotspots again. So we're aiming for sort of somewhere in here. Anywhere in here should be fine. So let's pick our target and get ready to basically go skyward. We're basically going to try and basically turn vertical as we arrive at the hotspot. So we need to get ready. We don't want to overshoot our hotspot, and hope we land on something relatively flat. So I'm going to aim for just over this ridge here and get sort of the backside of this hotspot here, or maybe this hotspot here. So let's see how close we can get. So let's start losing our forward velocity and just start getting our vertical velocity ready for our descent. So there we go. So let's just come up and over this hotspot. So we're now more or less, see here, we're starting to come up vertical. Don't want to go too vertical yet because I want to get over that ridge, and I think now is the time to kill the engines. Now is the time to deploy our parachutes and try desperately not to overshoot, well, at least not too far anyway. There we go. Let's put the T key on and get ourselves as vertical as possible. There we go. That's actually pretty good. Let's get our landing legs down, and let's just reduce our vertical speed using our jet engines. So let's just get our vertical speed down. Now they take time to spool up, so let's not overdo it because they take time to spool down as well. So we just want to make sure, as we come into this hotspot, we're not just going to rip apart. That's one thing that could be a worry. So let's just take the T key off and let ourselves drift. We're inside the bubble now, so we're inside the hotspot. Let's just slow ourselves down a little bit further, keep ourselves vertical. Now soon we're going to find ourselves popping our parachutes because we're quite high up here on this plateau, so our parachutes will pop shortly. There they go. Let's kill the engines. Don't want to go up. The worst thing we could do now is go up because the parachutes would collapse, and then my colleague, my friend, my subscriber's suggestion would be in tatters, literally, as we then tried to land this on engine only. I've got no chance of doing that. So there we go, a nice sort of 6.4, 6.3 meters per second as we go down. Just a little bit of engine just to assist us. Anything under 10 should be just fine. I've never landed with these landing legs, so I'm assuming they will land just fine. Looks like we're going to be pretty flat on a pretty level surface, which is good. I think I'm going to take the T key off just so that we will adjust as we land. 6.4 meters per second is just fine. Now I'm going to kill the engine a little bit earlier than I might, because again they have to spool down, so I don't want the engines tipping us over. So I think I am going to kill the engines now. I don't think we'll speed up that much over the remaining distance. And here we come. Cross your fingers, it's going to be hard. No, 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 no. We made it! Woohoo! Cool, that was a pretty hefty slope. That didn't look quite that sloped as we came down. So, saved by the engines. I think I'm going to switch this engine off first. And this one. Woohoo! Yes, Hadbart! Well done! Woohoo! Fantastic! Oh dear, that really did give me the collywobbles. Oh dear, now that was heartrending. I really thought we had it at that point. But well done, Hadbart, we made it. So, what next? Well, I think we need to deploy the drill. Hopefully the drill isn't going to tip us over. So no, that's good. Drill deployed. Now, I think we can hide these hotspots in the background there. And we can now extract carbonite. Fantastic. So we can see how much, is that millitons per hour? Milli thingies per hour? No idea. But we're extracting something. And if we click on here, we can see our carbonite tank filling up just nicely. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much there, Hadbart, for excellent piloting of this terrible carbonite extractor. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this inaugural flight, this this first flight to extract carbonite from Kerbin. If you'd like to like or subscribe, please do so. And I'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.